Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to create your very own in-demand virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 53, How to Successfully Offboard a Client.
Yeah, so today we're not going to be concentrating on why you would fire a client or how to fire a client. We've covered that in a previous episode, number 46, if you want to check that out. Today we're going to be talking about the next step. So you've made the phone call, you've sent the email, the client knows that for whatever reason you are parting ways. What's the next steps? How do you then offboard that client in a way that you both walk away feeling really good about your relationship, your working relationship?
I think the number one thing is to keep it professional, be grateful, wish them well, do that in the very best possible way. And sometimes when it has not been a good experience with that client, or they might have accused you of doing things that you haven't done, or for whatever reason, this is not a happy relationship, you still need to be professional and grateful.
Yeah, being the bigger person can be really hard sometimes though, right?
Mm-hmm. It's all about staying above the line. We talk about this concept and this model quite a lot, above and below the line. Staying above the line means that you are taking ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And it is so hard to stay there when all you want to do is be below the line, which is blame, excuses, and denial. But you've got to park that resentment, any ill feelings. Like, it is honestly, from experience, it is just not worth it.
Yeah, all of that negative energy that you were spending thinking about the situation, dealing with the situation, going back and forth, if you're not staying above the line, it isn't. It's just tiring. It's a waste of your energy for sure. Okay, so we want to stay professional. We want to stay above the line. We want to be grateful and thankful. So what are ways that we can be grateful and thankful to that client?
I think definitely consider sending a card, even if it hasn't gone well. Just a gesture where you're actually doing something that's more than just having a conversation with them, but something thoughtful. They are really going to appreciate that you are actually saying thanks. And so, and regardless of, we're not just talking about when you've had a bad experience with the client and they're leaving for a bad reason, but if they're even just leaving on good terms, all of the what we're going to talk about next is all, like, whatever type of client it is or the relationship that you've had. This is some of the things to consider when you're offboarding any client. So absolutely consider sending them a card, because you've really got to think about leaving on the very best terms that you can, because that person is going to notice how you have left them, and they are going to talk about you to other people. And so you want that to be a positive conversation, not a negative conversation. So yeah, leave on really great terms.
I mean, I have ex-clients that we've parted on very good terms. They may have outgrown me, the project's finished, whatever the reason being, but they still refer me on. And that's what you want. Those referrals, they are powerful things.
Very much so. So some of the other things you need to think about. So I have a full list. I think there's probably about 76 tasks from memory that need to happen when a client leaves. So there's a lot of internal behind the scenes stuff that you'll need to do, and there's a lot of direct with the client stuff that you'll need to do. And one of those things is to hand everything back on that last day. So make sure that any files are in the shared file so they have access to them. There's nothing on your local drives or in your own filing system. Make sure that if you have created a handbook in Google Sites like we do at my agency, that you're actually handing that over, giving them the password to that, making sure that they have everything that they need, it's up to date, and they have all of their information. There's also there's also a lot of tasks internally. So making sure that the recurring invoice is cancelled, so they're not going to get another invoice from you. Make sure that you send their final invoice. Make sure that you're following them up on that final payment, and then removing them from your client lists, turning them to past rather than current, and maybe closing down some projects in your task management tool. All of those internal places that you have where you're keeping track of all of your clients, make sure that you are actually updating those with a past client now that they have gone.
Would you also be wanting yourself removed if you're an admin on social media accounts and things like that?
Yeah, so figure out, like, if you use LastPass, a really great password vault, make sure you're looking in there to see what you have access to, what now needs to be removed, absolutely, so that you don't get those notifications unnecessarily. So send them an offboarding email that says, here's all the actions that you'll need to do at their end, and give them that list. That's a really great way to part ways. You've thought about it, you're being proactive, and helping them out by giving them that list.
I mean, your list is what? How many did you say is on that list?
There's 76 tasks.
76. But we've actually got that entire list inside the Savvy School Members Club. So if you would like access to that entire list of 75 things to do when offboarding a client, make sure you join us over there inside the Members Club.
And there's also this, sometimes you'll have a notice period, and sometimes clients won't want to give you the notice period. They might be in financial trouble. They may have had a really bad experience with you, or lots of mistakes have happened and they're not happy. Or they might just have forgotten that there's a notice period. So there's this real balance between whether you stick to your terms and your notice period, or whether you allow them to not give you any notice. Now, you've got to balance this up. And I always like to think about the bigger picture, like the long-term view of this. If I let them not stick to the notice period, are they going to have a better view of my business and be more inclined to have a positive experience offboarding and then go on to tell people that it was a positive experience? Or is it really worth sticking to it and saying, actually, there's a 1 month notice period or whatever it is, as per our terms. We know it was a while ago that you started with us, so we'd be happy to finish up these projects. If there's anything else that's outstanding, let us know so that we can wrap things up. We'll be finishing at the end of whatever. Your last invoice will be this date, and just outlining those terms to them again, because they have forgotten. And that's absolutely perfectly fine to do that. So you've got to really work out, is this person in a negative mindset about you or a positive mindset about you? And is this going to shift that mindset by sticking to your notice period or not? So that's really up to you.
Yeah, I mean, you know your clients best, don't you? And you also know your own business and what else you've got going on in your own life. So you are best to make that call. I've also I've come across virtual assistants that have had to give refunds to their clients. So for whatever reason, the working relationship's finished, that client has paid for a service plan in advance. They've decided, VA and client have decided not to work out that notice period. And so it's just been easier to call it quits and for the virtual assistant to then refund the unused hours. So that's absolutely an option as well.
One of the things that I always make sure that I think about when there hasn't been a good experience with a client, and just recently this has happened, where they didn't actually want to pay for any of the project at all, and it was a lawyer, and we've actually now said we're not really sure if we want to work with lawyers anymore. We've had some great lawyer clients, and we've had quite a few not so great lawyer clients. And what I try and remember, and one of my mentors a long time ago said this to me, don't spend energy chasing bad money, spend your energy on good money. So the clients that if you spend energy on chasing this, like it was $2,000, chasing this money, Like, what are you not doing over on the good money side? Are you're not spending that hour or so that it might take to fight that, or even longer if it goes to court?
Mm.
What energy are you not spending with your clients where it is good money, or putting it into generating leads or following people up who have proposals out? You've really got to think about where you spend your time, and sometimes it is just best to just walk away and forget about it.
And lesson learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So I hope that gives you a few tips on how to successfully offboard a client. But overall, our message to you is make sure that you make it a really positive, professional experience for that client, because the most important thing is that they leave on good terms with you so that they can spread the word and refer you to other people. It's a very small industry if we really think about it, especially here in New Zealand. People know people, and there's only a few degrees of separation. So yeah, make sure you leave people on a positive note. Thanks to everyone for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the Savvy School website to check out the amazing members club and find more free resources.
You can find us at savvyschool.co.nz.